Hello, this is Michael Limited, and Alexa, set off for 30 minutes.
30 minutes, starting now.
Right. You are. So the triumvirate's dead. Any views, so I will just review. Them having a conversation. There's been a murder in Valladolid. A missing persons case of a small girl, a young girl from a noble family. Get that. Get this. Another discussion. Meet with economists. The collapse of travel has been, as all well aware, an economic disaster for Iberia. Steps must be taken to promote the recovery and engineer these steps for government in general, and the Caudillo in particular must meet with the nation's leading economists. There will be no doubt the ideas both conservative and radical present, but of course action must be discussed and decided upon, and a decisive response is required. You get Gowlitz Islands from Argentina, good for you. First hack of the day. Do you? Now, El Salvador, the constitutional rule is reaffirmed under the National Consultation Party of Julio Alberto Rivera. Colonel Julius Alberto Rivera has been secured as President of El Salvador, secured unquestionably by the Party de Constitución Nacional, a charismatic figure who already delivered a national broadcast declaring the return to stability after the turmoil of the last 2 years. The crime radicals seeking to exploit the nation, trying for their own agendas. Matching his rhetoric, he has already promised social economic reforms, declaring rural welfare to be a defining objective to his presidency. Also highlighted the importance of continuing the close collaboration with business and government, as well as close relations with Washington. In order to support the development ambition, he founded the National Consolidation Party. His installments and gives the government desperately needed legitimacy and solidify a constitution, but not democratic rule. El Salvador cannot be relies on its potential until it weans itself from Washington. So there's plans for something to happen in Venezuela and Dominica, from what I'm reading. There's plans to move even to know how to shoot. Lobster Wars ended. Meet with economists. We go down this path first. Reaffirm science agreements. However, triumvirate records the remains of a few gems to be salvaged, particularly in the areas that rest alongside the weaknesses of our union. We will summon the Italian, Turkish, and Argentine ambassadors to clarify all scientific cause reached under the triumvirate. Continue to be binding, while we can expect some resistance from security officials. Our former partners, universities and businesses should be sufficient and ensure steady access to Italian nuclear research assistance, whatever hidden addenda or guarantees are needed. Since there's my choice, I'll read this out. An abundance of ideas and a shortage of plans. Salazar gives a small sigh as he sat down in his desk. His entire day has been devoting meetings to officials and ministry economies. He has only gotten some spare time to breathe. The process had taken. The good news is that the minister has no shortage of ideas and just has to combat them. The fascinating bad news was that nearly all of them were mutually contradictory and utterly incompatible. The first meeting has been with Antonio Julio de Castro Fernandez, a former Portuguese Minister of Economy and a protege of Salazar, who has entered the world of banking. His proposal was an aggressive push to autarky measures, possibly as a way to distance himself from the weight of his Italian connections. he wished to focus on corporatism as the path forward for Iberia, proposing the integration of numerous bodies, both Portugal and Spain. Next was with Marino Navarro Rubio and Loreno Lopez Rodo, two younger technocrat members of Bataillon Day who thought that they would know the best way forward as more experienced peers. They argued that the imposition of new barriers to international trade demands that the barriers to international trade be eliminated. The pair had then proceeded to spend the rest of their allotted time filling solid a verbal bonfire of new proposed regulations to facilitate such a plan. Finally, there was Jose Gonzalo Corona de Oliveira, the Portuguese Minister of Trade, who argued that doubling down on efforts to extract resources and trade from Iberia's colonies would pair with several state-backed investments into critical sectors of the economy. The ministry would never come to a speed consensus, so it fell to Salazar's commit to bold moves that could restore some confidence in the economy. So it's split between let's just try to keep things steady and strengthen imperial ties, and corporatism must deepen in both Portugal and the wider Union. I think let's try to keep things steady and strengthen imperial ties. And this is our first foreign policy thing, so I'm going to read this out because it's kind of important. Reports on Legion activity. Confidential to Dr. Antonio Oliveira Salazar, Generalissimo Francisco Francisco, Minister of Foreign Affairs. Dominican Republic strategic ally in the Caribbean. In recent weeks, we have spent a small contingent of agents to say of Cuba to support the Dominican intelligence. These agents have given the task of counter-espionage in order to discover any potential plot to overthrow Rafael Trujillo. As government recent findings suggest that the risk of a foreign-backed plot to remove Trujillo are correct. Though a mixture of imitation, interception, and bribery, our agents have managed to partially infiltrate the group of 2,000 soldiers belonging to the Caribbean Legion, receiving training in ambitious landing and drilled in combat, and is composed mostly of political dissidents who left the nation in recent years, along with volunteers from Cuba and abroad. There is little reason to doubt that they are preparing for an attack against the Dominican Republic, especially with the pattern of recent attacks on insurgent cells, was targeting several coastal regions. This is a major deterioration in the prospects of the Dominican Republic. A government similar to that of Cuba would doubtlessly be hostile to us, not to mention it would jeopardize our interests in the Latin America as a whole. The Dominican government has been promptly warned of this threat and is preparing a major sudden war beyond this. Instantly, our efforts to uncover Legion's plans will likely prevent the further advance without putting our agents at heightened unnecessary risk. Several contingency plans have been prepared for an event while the members have been executed immediately. Let's take a look at these plans. So, send arms shipment. Send a telegram to the embassy. Send army engineers. Send fighter aircraft. Reinforce embassy guard. Delete you. And finally infiltrate group. Don't care. Our agent of alarming that the Cuban government has begun training the Caribbean Legion, a group of mercenaries preparing to invade the Dominican Republic and overthrow Trujillo's regime. Whispers of increased resistance of the Democratic Republic itself further demonstrates that our friends' once firm grip on the control is no longer. It's obvious that this effort has been orchestrated by the Americans. If we want to maintain any sort of future influence in the Caribbean, we must make sure that Trio survives and that the Legion is crushed. So they're talking about how to fix the economy. Still, over a meal. Income tax cuts. Italy has won the Turkish war. There's a glitch there that says Italy owns parts of, well, Lebanon owns parts of Latakia. And the Syrian national state is now Italian-led. Also, for some reason, Lebanon is still at war. Okay, so cheetah bug, white piece to lead. Okay, so tag leb. White piece to tag either. Sorry about that, we're back again. Alexa, resume timer. Alexa, resume timer. Resume timer.
Your 30-minute timer resumed on Tom's Echo Dot with about 12 minutes left.
Alright. Sorry about that. The game crashed when trying to fix the problems with that. Term. And also, my computer is burning. The problem was my computer was a bit too hot and couldn't handle it. Thank you. So, spy on elephant embassies in Ciudad Trujillo or Trujillo City, Trove Coast. Use our high society friends. Follow opposition paper trail and invite OFN officials to embassy party. So this is why we spoiled the Italians. When a door closes, Madrid has always been a pleasant sight. Today we have excellent present officials crowded over the mahogany desk, out of the Spaniards holding a drink, sorted papers, and others spoke up with a boyish grin. I trust that our shipment will provide rapid will improve useful against Turks. I think this was for the it's the same event but it's happening again. Anyway, our trade stuff is increased, so that's probably good. And if this time they actually did white peace. Well done, Italy. Jesus Christ. The Jerusalem Conference, we're having that all the time. Pray to God that it actually succeeds. Send in the BSI detachment. Sabotage supply depository. Root out spy. Insert moles and bribe legionary members. Legionary mercenaries. Redefine intelligence collaboration. The collapse of Crimea will cast our intelligence network into disarray. Some of Iberia's agents, in hope of retaining its support of Italian or Turkish colleagues, continue to share information as if nothing happened. Others have sealed off the channel of communications, unwilling to risk the wrath of superior yet sensitive details, and are laid bare. If we are no new guidance of all our relevant personnel in the area of the travel is gone, and with it the assumption that our peers are operating in good faith. The channel can be kept open to cultivate sources or to build trust so that we can leverage any prepared misinformation later, but fundamentally Iberia is now on its own. Business tax cuts. So this is talking about the interest in nuclear stuff. The United Arab Kingdom has sort of been formed, which just means that the area of Transjordan is now just the entirety of has just taken the Levant, also known as the United Arab Kingdom of Palestine and Jordan, the United Arab Kingdom, UAK. This is talking about betting, and as a person who isn't particularly a betting man, and also the fact that the odds are against me, and the memories of war once fought were ones of, what was it, before. So this talks about the daughter and leader of the women's section of the Falange, and daughter of Jose Antonio Primo de Rivera. Next, put them to good use. The bonds between Trimber were tenuous and transactional, We do not speak on the same language, and Lepanto looms larger in our history than any shared victory. Nevertheless, our collective bureaucracy, they were able to weave a thicket of agreements and short programs facilitate immigration and mutual scholarship with even these most transactional of allies. But the triumvirate is time for reorient these tools and our foreign policies more broadly towards our kin across the Atlantic. The bright minds are closed hands will flock to Iberia's universities, factories and farms. We will begin with like-minded governments in the region, before these will be the easiest in which to reach agreements and to remind Latin America of the benefits of allying with Iberia. Someone's blown up. We're talking from the perspective of some gardener. Oh, Burgundy just dropped a nuke. That's probably why. Herrerists have been elected in Uruguay, the National Party it seems. Queen Wilhelmina is dead. Our condolences. Military parades. Many of our nation initially saw the collapse of the triumvirate as reactionary detractors of our regime, subversives, spread information that it had been us who had failed to uphold the standing on the world stage through weak diplomacy. Our pursuit to eradicate these tremendous rumours and the idea of split with our former allies should be celebrated was born. It has therefore been decided that we will host a grand military parade to celebrate the regaining of our independence and sovereignty from the triumvirate, in addition to rallying the population to our side and be able to show off our strength in neighbourhood. Random story about a professor. Talking about some music. Talking between grandparents, which increases unity. This is new, by the way. The Latin American Congress of Fascist Youth ends. All the Americans are looking at an evolution as the interest of the first Latin American Congress of Fascist Youth officially ends. The Congress, which reports and get to observers, has been called by the dictator of Paraguay, Guillermo Maringo, to secure his legacy before his immediate retirement, brought together representative fascist movements from all over the continent. Curiously, the Integralists have also boycotted Congress due to their anti-Nazi stance. Maringo, the hero of the Latin American far right, spoke on the need for a fascist improvement movements to unite against the common enemy, and to this end announced the creation of the Condor Legion, a volunteer group to be trained in the infamous Junker School that will seek support to support fascism across the continent. There is a spectre haunting Latin America. Mostly because how I like to stop is technically corporate status, which is a branch of fascism, led by the Moringa government. It's an alright economic policy, nothing extremely major, especially by fascism standards, but it's an alright policy for anyone to have. Anyway, yeah, this is what I'll call this video due. We have basically all the information we know on the operation. We don't know when it's going to happen though. They're still in training. And we are hitting their supplies hard. So hopefully we should succeed if I got it right. But again, the custom thing doesn't always work. So hopefully the fascist populism led to Dominican Party or Partido de America by El Chivo or Rafael Benita Trujillo will survive, and may God bless him. Anyway, this has been Mountain Limited signing off. Good day, goodbye, goodbye.